this can't happen again. And we're not going to stop until it doesn't happen again.
Thousands of students across the country walked out of school this morning as part of a nationwide protest against gun violence.
That includes, of course, students in Parkland, Florida, where that gunman opened fire at a high school last month, killing 17 people. That deadly shooting, along with others, has moved people around the nation to take action. Welcome to KREM 2 News, everyone. I'm Jane McCarthy.
And I'm Tom Sherry. Students at more than 3,000 schools participated in demonstrations today, and that includes students from right here in our region. Students at several Spokane area schools participated in today's demonstration at Gonzaga Prep right there. As you heard, students sang in honor of the victims of gun violence.
KREM 2's Kira Elfolin tells us students also gathered on the football field to read the names of recent victims of gun violence.
Organizers estimate that over 100 students gathered in solidarity to stand against gun violence in schools and also to remember the recent shooting victims. Following an assembly, students piling onto the Bullpup Stadium field outside of the school. The school's choir moving the crowd with their voices.
Right after the choir finished one of their songs, I looked around at everyone's face and they were all in the same mindset, I think. And I think it was beautiful to see how something like this can unite us.
One by one.
Diva Jeanan Davis, age 47. Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Students reading the names of the victims recently lost to gun violence. Student organizers saying the event was a success, but they are hoping the world will listen.
We're the next generation of voters, and these are the ideals that we stand for. We stand for safe schools, and we're tired of the inaction in Congress.
Before the walkout, students given the opportunity to register to vote and write letters to their representatives.
If you're not educated on how to make change, change won't happen. So we wanted to try and get everyone together and have a respectful dialogue no matter of ideology.
After a moment of silence, the ceremony ending after 17 minutes.
Conversation is possible. I think that the kids are here to show the adults that once you cross away from your partisan lines, things can get done. And right now, everyone's so focused on being a Democrat or being a Republican that they can't be people. So I think the message that I want everyone to take away from this is that it's time to get away from your personal beliefs and just think about how to make this issue better.
I think it went really well. I don't think it could have gone better.
The world will live as one. Sam Strahan, who was the student from Freeman High School who was shot and killed, was also remembered during that ceremony. Students just say they are hoping people will listen and hoping students especially will try to make a change. Back to you.
Wow. Meantime, in downtown Spokane, hundreds of students poured out of Lewis and Clark High School. Some parents also demonstrated alongside students.
KREM 2's Rob Harris has that part of our coverage.
The crowd outside of LC today was huge. So big, in fact, that it was actually hard to navigate my way through at times to talk to all the different people who were participating. It started forming before the actual walkout began, actually. Some parents and members of the community showed up with signs and actually declined interviews because they said they wanted the students to be the focus today. At 10 a.m., just as planned, the students started filing out of the doors of LC, and it took several minutes for all of the participating students to make their way out onto the sidewalk and steps because there were so many of them that had lined up in the hallways. Many of them had brought signs from home with different messages, most of them relating to gun reform.
Last time I checked, I have the right to live.
It says enough is enough, and it has a list of many school shootings and mass shootings and the number of deaths.
Never again.
To be sure, though, not all students participated, and when you look through the windows of LC, you could see some students who apparently had decided to not demonstrate along with their classmates. But the students who were out here demonstrating say they were really ecstatic to see so many participating.
I'm so overjoyed right now. I thought there was going to be 50 people max, and we have so many people here, at least a couple hundred, and this is far beyond anything I ever expected.
It is so moving. It is so amazing to see everyone come together through our differences for this one cause, for this one change.
I'm honestly really excited because I wasn't expecting this many, especially since we got a sudden burst of rain. This is honestly, it's greater than I could have imagined.
For many of the students that I spoke to today, these demonstrations aren't over. They're planning one in downtown Spokane next Saturday. They're calling it the March for Our Lives and inviting the whole community to come out. And then they're planning another school walkout for April 20th, which will last all day to coincide with the Columbine school shooting. In Spokane, Rob Harris, back to you.
Well, it was certainly a somber day for students at Freeman High School. That is where a gunman shot and killed Sam Strahan just a few months ago.
Today, dozens of students there gathered to observe 18 minutes of silence, 1 minute for each victim in Parkland, Florida, and 1 additional minute for Sam. He was killed September 13th trying to stop a gunman at Freeman High School. School administrators say students also plan to participate in another National Walkout Day coming up on April 20th. And those weren't the only students in the Inland Northwest who participated in walkouts today.
KREM 2's Mark Hanrahan has more on stories that we're working on for you for our 5 o'clock newscast. Mark?
Good afternoon, guys. Today, students at Sacagawea Middle School also joined in on National Walkout Day. More than 100 students, parents, and supporters gathered in front of that school. KREM 2 had the opportunity to speak to a few of those students.
We're not going to be silent while things are happening to students in schools where we're supposed to be able to say that we're safe.
And we aren't going to stand by while so many people have been either shot or someone they know has been affected by a school shooting.
Some of the Sacagawea students also gave speeches. We'll hear some of those from some of those students coming up on KREM 2 News at 5 o'clock tonight. There were also demonstrations across the border in North Idaho today at Coeur d'Alene High School. Students didn't know where they'd gathered until just before that 10 a.m. bell. The principal there made the announcement students could meet in the gym. Students were invited to register to vote, sign a petition, and write letters to their representatives. Meantime, less than a mile away from the high school, there was a counter-protest at the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. It was called the North Idaho Carry Second Amendment Support Rally. About 30 people did show up and some did bring guns. We'll have much more on these stories coming up on KREM 2 News at 5. Back to you guys.